At number 3, I've got Ohio State. Look, this is a team that should have won the national championship last year, and I'll keep it brief. They should have beat UGA in the college football playoff, and they didn't. The ball just didn't bounce their way enough times. If they had done that, they would have won the national championship, and people would be talking a lot differently about Ryan Day and about Ohio State this year and what they can do. But that's not football. So they've got to get back up, get back into it, get back to the college football playoff, and they've certainly got the talent on the roster to do so. They're just behind Alabama in having the most talented roster in college football, just ahead of Georgia. So, if they're not able to do it again this year, there's really no excuse. But overall, I think that they're going to win 11 games. I think that they slip up to either Penn State or Michigan, but probably not both. And if that happens, we'll kind of have to see how it goes with the Big Ten championship game as to whether or not they make the playoffs.
Yeah. Number 11, though, before we get to the top 10, I've got Ohio State at number 11. And there's a reason I set these rankings up in my head. These are what I think the rankings will be after the final week of the regular season. And with that being said, I think that Ohio State loses that last game of the year to Michigan, and I don't really think that it's going to be that close. So I'm thinking that they are probably, 10-1 headed into that game, probably ranked, right there in the top 5, and then get beat down, and a couple other teams make their way up. And I feel like that's how you get Ohio State at 10-2, which is my prediction. Ryan Day, I feel like, is kind of in a situation where, as crazy as it sounds, I think it's kind of put up or shut up this year. I mean, I'm not saying he's on the hot seat, obviously not going anywhere this year, but gosh, if he goes 10-2 or 9-3 this year, I know how Ohio State fans are. That's not going to be good enough. And he hasn't won any big games recently. It doesn't, the COVID year, yeah. But it seems like every time they go to the playoffs, they lose. They can't beat Michigan. I mean, it's almost like a Mark Richt type situation out there at Ohio State a little bit, and the fact that it doesn't seem like they can get over the hump. And had every opportunity last year, if they'd have made that field goal, they would have surely won a national championship. But that's revisionist history, and it didn't happen. So, everybody's been talking about their quarterback situation. Ryan Day came out and said the other day at one of his press conferences that, they asked him about Kyle McCord and Devin Brown, who's showing some separation. He said, nobody showed any separation, and that's one of the things about fall camp. You can't always tell what coaches, what their end game is. I know Kirby Smart will use the media, just for example, and other coaches as well to talk to their players. But I believe Ryan Day whenever he says that there's no separation. It didn't seem like it was some kind of game he was playing. I don't think that they know. And I think that they've got a little bit of time to figure it out at the first part of the season. So I think you'll probably see both guys. Kyle McCord was a 5-star in 21. And Devin Brown, I know he was a highly rated guy too. So I think take your pick, and I think they're probably going to be pretty good. Offensively, when's the last time that we said that Ohio State didn't have a good offense? I mean, it's been a long time, and they've had some amazing players come in and out. Marvin Harrison is obviously back, probably top 3 player in all of college football. If you're not separating by position or anything, he could be 1, 2, or 3, and you really couldn't argue with that. The offensive line back in the spring game, it feels like that was forever ago now, but offensive line didn't look very good to me. And they're, especially the left side of the line, they're replacing everybody over there. And I'm hearing that they took in a transfer that was like a 3-star, and I can't remember what school he went to, but it's looking like he's going to start at left tackle. And it is somebody who has a little bit of experience, but it's not at a big school or definitely not anything like this level of football. So I am a little bit concerned about that. Is it going to affect them running the ball? Um, and having a right-handed quarterback, are they going to have issues on that left side? I mean, that's always a question, right? That's why left tackles make so much doggone money in the NFL. So many right-handed quarterbacks, but you know that left side, it does worry me. Now, Jim Knowles, this is his second year running this defense. I expect them to take a step up. I was still slightly disappointed in them last year. I thought that there would be more of a step forward. Um, they're going to need a safety to step up. That was one kind of glaring hole that everybody's kind of talked about. Denzel Burt looks good for one of the cornerback spots. So I think the defense will be better this year, just naturally, natural progression of second year in a system. And Jim Knowles is a highly coveted defensive coordinator. So, I even heard on a call-in show that I listened to pretty frequently, I heard an Ohio State fan come in. They, not even joking, said that Ohio State's going to have the best defense in the country this year. And I do not believe that, not for 1 second. I don't think they'll be ranked number one in any category on defense, to be honest with you. But they have to be number one. That's the thing. If they're top 15 or top 20 on defense, it's going to be really damn hard to beat this team, man, with all the weapons that they have on offense. So if they can just have a serviceable defense this year, then I think that they can maybe do better than this 10-2 mark and maybe try to finish up 11-1. I don't see them beating Michigan. The offensive line, I'm already having questions about it. What's it going to look like, the last game of the year? You don't gain players throughout the season, you lose them. And I don't think the depth on the offensive line, especially on the left side, is a strength for them. And defensive line, I don't see enough improvement in the offseason so far at this point as far as personnel and everything. We'll have to see how the year goes, but I don't see them stopping Michigan. And if you're going to beat Michigan, they have let it be known you're going to have to run the ball and you're going to have to stop the run. And I'm not a believer that Ohio State's going to be able to do that this year. So I think 9-3 is actually a possibility with them. I think they're going to lose to Penn State and Michigan this year, though. And if sour attitudes prevail after a loss, they could easily lose another game. And they got to play Notre Dame this year too. So it's not an easy schedule necessarily. The Big Ten, I guess, is never an easy schedule, but that's kind of where I'm at with that group right there. So that was 15 through 11. What do you think about that?